people love true crime. I love true crime podcasts. I really do. They love, TV shows that feature detectives and policemen, people solving crimes. That I think is the essence here of what this is there's something has happened and there needs to be some effort put forward to understand what has happened and to find truth and justice. So those are kind of the essential elements.
The part that always gets me are the murder mysteries. And that in a way, the murder is really symbolic because it's not as if there's really a lot of heartfelt feeling about it. There may be a grieving family or a grieving spouse somewhere, but really it's about the whodunit. And that we're a little bit cavalier about the dead body that is suddenly discovered somewhere underground or somewhere unexpected. That it's almost the trope of a story of find a dead body.
And I think left to our own instincts, we'll make up stories about who done it, and we'll accuse people or we'll fantasize about something. What's interesting about the detective is this combination of thinking and intuition. And so much of the Sherlock Holmes model is this irrefutable evidence, this kind of scientific accumulation of facts that then leads to a conclusion. Because I think it's natural for human beings to wonder how something happened. In the most ancient of times, undoubtedly, tragedy happens, a spouse disappears, somebody is injured. I think it's natural for all of us to then want to find a narrative, like the what happened kind of narrative.
Mm-hmm.
But the detective is the one who's scouring for irrefutable facts, regardless of what the personal feelings are about it. And that's kind of an evolution of objectivity in the human psyche.
Yeah, and going along with that is the truth that the answer is always surprising. It's never who you first expect. In fact, a really good mystery novel is going to lead you down the garden path and make you suspect this person and that person and this person. And then only at the end, with some shock, do you realize that it's none of those people, that it's someone else altogether. But I think, Joseph, I appreciate what you're saying about this kind of evolution of objectivity. We have to be allowed to be surprised by evidence, by that which is objective, rather than simply sort of,
hunches or feelings.
Yeah, exactly.
So this rise of empiricism, of the empirical method.
Yes.
So, it's the 1800s is when these stories start getting published, but that's also the rise of the scientific method as well.
And so we get the rise also of the sort of hard-boiled sleuth who raises his objectivity to new heights. And he may be very cynical. He may be jaded.
He looks jaded on the surface, but really he's got a tender heart. That's always the way it is.
Sometimes he does. Yeah. I don't know that Sherlock Holmes has a tender heart, but he's cloaked in a way, in his trench coat and carrying his gun and wearing that hat, whether it's sort of the deer hunter hat that Sherlock Holmes typically wears. He takes on all the attributes of a sort of anti-hero. And he may not have a heart of gold, but we need him. Do we like him? I think we're ambivalent about some of these hard-boiled guys who trample over everybody's feelings. I remember as a kid listening to Dragnet, and Jack Webb, the good cop, somebody would be saying, "Oh, and it was so terrible," and I was listening, and he would just say, "Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts."
Right. So the detective is brilliant. He's using deduction. He's intensely focused. Often, if we have a glimpse into their personal lives, they are often portrayed as very austere and somewhat secretive.
With personal problems.
Yeah.
Always. They drink too much. Their health is bad. They're alone. They've had their heart broken, or they have a trail of women whose hearts they've broken. They're usually not like
attachment disorders.
Exactly. Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And yet all that is turned to the great benefit of society.
But it's a great way of amplifying those ego functions of thinking and intuition and our ambivalence of, yes, if there's a crime to solve, don't we want one of these fictional detectives who always succeeds to be the one on the job figuring it out? But we wouldn't want to invite him to dinner.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to have to, I push back, Deb. I think I read more of these than you do.
Lisa finds this much more sexy, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's some of them I would absolutely want to have for dinner, really, really, kind of. I mean, so part of it is, I think what we're saying, though, is that the detective is often a loner and an outsider.
Yes,
He's outside in some way, outside the social order much of the time. So I'm thinking of Jackson Lamb from the series Slow Horses that's been serialized on Apple TV and stars Gary Oldman as the kind of washed up, very unwashed, flatulent, alcoholic, head of the agency there.
But he's not the one you want to invite for dinner.
No, well,
is he?
I don't know. I mean, he's pretty funny. He's pretty funny. But the other one that comes to mind is J.K. Rowling's books, which she's written under a pen name, Robert Galbraith, the Strike, this Cormoran Strike novels. He's really sort of doesn't belong to this class or that class. He kind of is in between categories in the social order. He kind of flits around the edges of high society, but he doesn't really belong there. He kind of says the wrong thing at all the parties because he drinks too much and then just lets his honest opinion fly out there. But he's got integrity. He has integrity and he cares about the right things, So he doesn't make much money, and so he kind of sleeps in this crummy flat above his office. Although I think he's coming up in the world a little bit as the series progresses, but yeah, no, he's a very kind of charming is not the right word, compelling figure, because he does carry this outsider energy. He was wounded in the wars. I think he was wounded in Afghanistan. He lost a leg. So it's this sense of someone who's seen something and knows stuff the rest of us don't want to know about. I mean, so this brings to mind this idea that the detective is he, or perhaps she, who knows how to deal with society's shadow.
Yes.